Hello and welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. My name is Jesse, this is Joe, and we are so happy that you are able to join us on this beautiful Monday. I hope everybody's doing well. Let us know in the chat that you can hear us and that you can see us, and we'll get this show on the road. Okay, we got a lot of the usual suspects in chat today. Let us know you can hear us and that everything is good to go. And we will get started.
Loud and clear, according to Goshawk. So
Perfect. All right, everybody. I hope everybody has had a good weekend so far. And if you guys are having a long weekend because of the 4th of July holiday, you guys are so lucky. But I hope that this sees you all well. We've been busy little bees, obviously. We put out a couple of videos over the past week. And we hope that a lot of you had a chance to actually watch those and check those out, because we will be discussing some of the stuff from those videos tonight on the show. So,
and we've got our own hype clown. There you go.
The hype clown.
The hype clown.
All right.
All right.
All right. That's a first, but I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. All right, we got everybody in here. We got Martin Groves in the house and everybody.
Producer D, Paul M, Finding the Trackway, BR Gator, E-Rev, Ryan, Jonestead, Shade Viking, Goshawk, Take Two Wheels, Lady Wolf.
Not today, Saban says. Where'd it go? I lost it. They're coming in too fast. Here we go. Not today, Saban says, I honestly thought it said Dark Corner and Lactating Beast Discussion. And thanks to that, I had to clean beer off my monitor. Thanks. Yes, there will be no lactating beasts here today, unfortunately. But it is the laughing beast, which is just as frightening, I guess, in a way, just for different reasons.
Now I want to look for lactating beasts.
Now I want to see the lactating beast. Yeah. It's probably somebody's ex-wife in the chat.
Beat them all to the joke, man. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yes. All right.
Well, Kyle from Encrypted Connections just popped in.
Yeah, we've been very busy. We've been very busy with going out and doing investigations and coming back and just jumping right in. I've been just jumping right into editing and hammering out these videos. And it looks like it's going to be it looks like I'm going to be trying to do that going forward for a bit. I'm going to try to be getting videos out on a regular basis, probably 1 or 2 at least a week. So if you guys are ready for that sort of flow of content, it's coming, because my job actually shut down without me knowing. On Thursday was my last day. So now I am in my editing room. So I'm no longer at my job because the company shut down. So I'm going to be editing. So that'll be that. Joe? Yeah. Okay,
so
great.
Yeah.
This is going great.
Anyway, we released a couple of videos. We released one last week and then one this week. So
the first one we released, we were actually going back to an area in South Carolina that we had not been to in a couple of years. And when we were there last, it kind of dropped off. But the name of that video is Dark Corner. I released that last Tuesday, and it had a really, really good response. The forest there is just so lush and so beautiful. So I'm sure everybody really liked that visual there. But that was an area that Joe and I had not been to for a couple of years at this point. The activity actually died down after they did a controlled burn there, and we just let it lie for a few years. And we decided to head back up there and check it out after we received a bunch of different reports of activity up there. So we got a report of a couple of fishermen who actually, they were in their tent. Did I talk about this on a show already?
Yeah, I think you talked about it. They were in their tent and they had something come around their tent. They thought it was a bear at first until they saw it silhouetted against what was left of their campfire.
Yeah.
And then it started pressing in on the top of their tent, and they could tell it was a hand, not a paw. And it was big.
Yeah.
So,
and then another story that we got was a girl was up there hiking with her dog. She saw a Sasquatch, and the dog actually went after the Sasquatch, and she did not pursue it. But the dog was gone and never seen or heard from again. in addition to a couple other stories that we received from a couple of sources. So when we get a big cluster of stories like that for one area, we kind of go with what the universe is, kind of go with the direction that the universe is pushing us in, and we pursue it. So we went back to the area and decided to check it out. We basically reintroduced ourselves to that particular area. We found that when we go somewhere repeatedly, we go there over and over again, things seem to ramp up on the probably the second or the third time we're there, just because it seems like whatever is in the area gets, I guess, more accustomed to us. So we see how that goes. So we will be returning to that area and checking that out. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that video. That was the Dark Corner video. And then then we released one today. Was it today? Gosh.
Today. It seems like yesterday.
It does seem like yesterday. I released one today called The Laughing Beast, and it's also set in South Carolina. So we're getting a lot of South Carolina reports. The one that I released today, The Laughing Beast, that we actually received that email because of the video released on Tuesday. The lady got in touch with us and sent us that email. There have been subsequent emails after that, and we're going to go into that later on after we've gone there a few times. But it was a really, really freaky area. I know that I was uncomfortable there. It's very, very isolated. And to go there, trying to say how to state this. There was a bridge that was out, so we had to get creative. We had to kind of circumnavigate where the bridge was, and then we had to go around a couple of closed road signs and get into this area that she told us about. So she gives very specific directions on where to go, where her and her husband go and hang out, and they hear all these crazy sounds.
And she gave us some just crazy stories that went along with that, some just crazy accounts. So we went and checked it out. And she had said that it was an area that wasn't visited that often. But with the bridge closure and all the road closures, it doesn't look like anybody's been there for a while.
Yeah.
There's a ton of leaves on the road, branches on the road. And this was the paved road leading in. The gravel roads, the grass is just taken back over at this point. So
yeah, you can actually see in the video that there's a lot of grass growing up through the gravel road there. And there's actually a lot of grass growing through the sides of the paved road. So that road's been shut down for a while, and there's really nobody going back there, which almost makes it scarier in a way because we're almost more remote than ever before when it comes to this.
Yeah. Lady Wolf said she heard the lengthy growl loud and clear. I don't know if she means on this last video. The last video we were running a GoPro because we were just scouting the area. So when we heard, some people had asked what we heard when we got to the bottom of that road. The bottom of the road is where the witness and her husband goes to. And she used to go back there. He used to spend time there when he was younger. She would take him back in there. She would like look for, deer shed, deer bones, stuff like that. And they got to the point where they were hearing something every time they were there. We got down in that area on foot, and we just started hearing this long, like drawn out, like it's not too shrill for a scream, like a howl, a call, but it just went on and on and on. It just got higher and lower, higher and lower. All we had was our GoPro. So we went back up and got the digital camera, the digital recorder, but didn't really hear that much. Lady Wolf says she heard it on the GoPro before we went for the truck. I was curious whether people would be able to hear that if they had headphones on or not. So
yeah, when I was editing it, I was like, you can faintly hear it. Like you can faintly hear it, but it's a very long-winded yell.
Just
howl.
Did not stop, it seemed like.
Yeah, so. And you can tell by my face, I'm just like in complete shock about it because we didn't expect something to happen immediately after we got down there. So we hiked down there. We didn't realize we could drive down there because we didn't know how rough the road was because the whole area is so overgrown. We didn't really know what to expect. So we parked up on the hill and then walked all the way down to the second kind of turnaround where this lady and her husband actually do hang out.
But the first place we pulled into, we got out of the car and we're just kind of getting out, looking around for a second. We had just started the GoPro up. We were filming a little bit just to kind of get an idea of like just the lay of the land up there. And we just had a scream come out of the woods. Maybe it was just timing, but the moment the scream came out, our GoPro just all of a sudden just went files corrupted and then just tried to reboot. And then we had to take the battery out of it, do everything like that. And then it worked kind of okay after that, but maybe it was timing, but it was just really odd. I mean, the moment we got out of the car, we hear like a weird scream, camera goes down, walk down to the other point, and just hear that. What would you call that? Like a call, a howl, a scream?
It was like, like it
But
was
just
really
long and drawn
long.
out, so.
And it was like nothing I'd ever heard before. It was definitely not a coyote, definitely not. It wasn't like a wolf or a dog howl, you know. When I
Mhm.
say howl, I mean like a yell in a way more than a howl.
Jaeger heard it too through his headphones. But yeah, it was weird, and it's I'm having a hard time expressing how secluded you feel there. Okay, we've
Yeah.
gone into some like secluded places, like Lost Cove in like North Carolina. It takes forever to hike into, and
And it's a rough hike down.
and
in
once
there.
you're down there, you ain't getting out quick.
Yeah.
And there ain't nobody else around. There's like one path in and out. You know whether there's people down there or not. This felt more isolated than that place did, and this felt more oppressive than like Corpsewood Manor. This
Mhm.
felt it's weird because we were getting ready to leave out at night, and Jesse was fumbling with something, and I'm just sitting there, and it's dark all around us. We had our headlights on, and I'm like sitting there, hold myself back from just saying, just put it in gear and go, man. Let's just get out of here. Just seemed like the night just pressed in on you, and we go to some sketchy ass areas at night. You know, this one took the cake. Wouldn't you agree? So
Yeah, it was. We even had like a good bit of a moon, but it was still like
Mhm.
blackest of black out
Mhm.
there. It was insanely dark, and the forest is really, really thick. I don't even think they do any kind of forest management back in that part.
Nah, they don't,
You
I don't
know
think
how-
they do anything back there.
I don't think they
nowadays.
do anything. Yeah, I don't think any forest management is taking place back there because it is so insanely thick through that forest. You really can't see too far ahead of you. And for it being mostly a pine forest, that's very odd
Mhm.
because usually you don't have a lot of underbrush in those pine forests like
Mhm.
that. But it was just so densely packed with trees. It was wild.
Yeah.
And it was just so dark in there. It was insanely dark. But the fact that we're just up on, it was basically like a platform, that kind of turnaround spot where we were.
Mhm.
That's basically like a platform that dips down on every side all the way around it. And it just felt like we could be surrounded at any point in time.
What did I say? I said it feels like we're under a microscope here. I said we're in this clearing, and then there's just literally just thick woods all around us. And the witness had said that at times they would hear stuff that just seemed like it came from just on the other side of the tree line, but they just couldn't see into it because it was so thick. Yeah, it was crazy. It's a crazy spot, and there's nothing recreational to do through there. There's no hiking trails. There's nothing scenic like a waterfall. There's no camping through there. I guess there was hunting there once upon a time, but it doesn't look like anything's happened there the last couple of years.
Not at all.
By the way, thank you for that, Teresa
Thank you,
Wilkins.
Teresa Wilkins.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate that.
Teresa Wilkins out the gate.
And Shade Viking.
Shade Viking too. Thank you,
There
Shade
you
Viking.
go. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Happy 4th to everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
But
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
we're gonna be approaching that area again. But I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. We're going in cautiously in that area. That area there's one way in and out. The witness told us that they usually take an axe with them, so we take like ropes, a tow strap, a chainsaw, and everything like that. But there's just something about that area where you're just walking around, you're going, if something was going to happen to you in the woods, it's in a spot like that.
Yeah.
Okay? It's in a spot like that. So
my mother watched the video this morning and she's like, well, what are you going to do if somebody tries to block you in down there? And I was like,
that's my,
well,
I was worried about that.
there's no way to get out of there. There's one way in, one way out.
Well, especially when you get into this, one of the stories, and the witness said we could share stuff as long as we obviously kept them anonymous.
Mhm.
She had said that her husband was there once upon a time years ago. Okay. Went by himself, and he came out, and there was a young girl near his truck asking him for a ride. She wouldn't answer how she got there, and she wouldn't really give him any details. She just kept insisting that he needed to give her a ride.
Yeah.
She wouldn't back away from him. He eventually basically had to threaten her to back away. And then he left out. And the impression that I got is that, and she went out of her way when she first told me this to go, he doesn't think she was a ghost, but obviously there was something not natural there that her husband was just on edge.
I like that's the caveat. I don't think it was a ghost.
Well, because here's the deal: is because the guy was just so insistent that she needs to get away from him, and he needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
And then it was just So I don't know if there was like some sort of setup going on in there. I mean, you run into in an area like that, if somebody goes down there, it's for one of a couple of reasons. Either they're doing something weird like we're doing, or they're doing something weird and illegal and they don't want people to be around.
Yeah, Penny Van actually mentioned, I'd be most afraid of running into any ginseng hunters or liquor cookers runners. I learned that lesson in Virginia. Yeah, so the witness, her husband mentioned, moonshining was a thing that took place around there. So that is a possibility, but you can really tell that nobody's really been down there at all.
No, I mean, we went around the turnarounds are just starting to, I mean, you guys saw them. They're starting to overgrow. There's grass coming through the gravel. There's grass taking those roads back over. There's just literally grass growing up through the gravel and just taking it back over. And like a year now, it's going to be almost unpassable, I think. But the thing that struck us is that sometimes you go into areas and you're going, there's no way that anybody's ever been here before. And then you just start seeing cigarette butts and stuff like that around. There's nothing there. There's like literally not a speck of garbage, not a cigarette butt, not a piece of paper, nothing. The only thing that made you think that people had ever been there was just the fact that there had been a road there. That was just,
I saw an old rusty tuna can, but that could be many, many, many years old, but there was no label or anything on it.
A what can?
Tuna.
Oh, tuna can.
An old tuna can. So that's the only trash I saw that was there at all. But yeah.
Southern Sasquatch.
Thank you, Southern
for
Sasquatch.
The Squatch Fund.
Squatching.
I don't know if that's to support one or buy one, or
if we could just buy one, then this would
job
be a lot
done.
easier.
Job game over. We're done. Thank you, Southern Squatch. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Let's see.
I can say that's for the Holiday Fund.
Holla, holla, holla.
When you named this project Hellbent Holler, I didn't think how useful having the name Holler and having the word Holler in your name would be. Helicopter.
How versatile the name is.
Thinking ahead there. Bryce Edwards said they saw a bunch. Yeah, it's weird because there's a bunch of arches and X's. And again, we're not really big tree structure people. We always go back to the fact that a lot of that, even if it looks weird, it could have occurred naturally, right?
Yeah.
But here, that double one that we saw, and then Jesse's like, well, there's a game trail right there. And I'm like, well, it's some sort of trail because it's pretty big. But we kept seeing like arches and X's over these like paths going into the forest. Thing was, we were losing light. And at one point, I don't know if you included it in the video, but we were out and we like happened to flashlight down. There's like a 30-foot drop off, like right next to us. That's when we kind of tried to call a lid on it on moving around at night with no lights on, because I mean, that was a deep, deep drop. So, and if I go down that, I mean, she ain't getting me out. So I'm just going to have to lay there.
Justin Myers says, my hair looks cute tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Let's see.
I got a couple starred over there if you want to pull some of those up.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Somebody had asked us this earlier, if we ever got like mind speak. Y'all heard something in the woods. Did you feel something weird? We definitely felt something weird. But we didn't get any sort of telepathic message. The only time it's ever happened to us, remember we were in that old logging road where we found that print as we crossed this log. We were on a whole network of logging roads one time, and I don't think you've ever released that video before.
No, I haven't.
Because most of the night was pretty uneventful, but
it's in the Holler archives.
Yeah, the Holler archives. There's a couple of downed trees that just fell over these roads that have just they've been maintained in decades. Last time we went there was in the summertime. You couldn't even walk them because they were so overgrown. But we went over a fallen like tree that was on the road, and then there's just this giant footprint there in the mud, and it looked fresh. There was still water going into it. And that was the night that I looked at Jesse and I was just like, we need to mentally prepare ourselves because this is a twisty, turny road. We could walk around a corner and come face to face with something tonight. This could be the night that we just have an up close and personal just run in. But when we were going down there, Jesse stopped, and I can't even remember what the word it was you said, but you went, have you ever heard of this word before? And I went, why? And you went, it's just in my mind right now.
I wonder if I don't even know if I had the camera on.
Yeah, but that's the only time we thought that maybe something like that was happening, because neither one of us knew what the word was.
We had no cell service. We couldn't look it up or anything.
But yeah, as of this point, we've never had anything like that happen at all. So Ray Provincial, thank you. Appreciate your efforts. Little donation for your phones. Happy 4th of July. Thank you, Ray. We appreciate that. It's either going to pay for gas to go back out there or hospital bills after we get mauled. So let's keep it.
Yeah, the fact that her email also says that rabies runs rampant out there. I was like, oh, great. All we need is a freaking rabies infected animal to run at us while they're doing this crap in the middle of the night.
She might even be listening to this tonight. And we might try to see if she'd be willing to come on. We don't usually do guests, but maybe we'll try to have her on one night, because some of the stuff she's told us is like crazy. And I believe her, because the stuff she told us that they experienced,
very accurate,
we experienced as soon as we got out of there. The only thing we didn't have happen was she said that one night they were there and her husband has suffered some loss of vision over the last few years. And she said that it's made his hearing freakishly sensitive. Okay. I mean, the guy's going out into the woods still and doing this stuff with, some vision loss. So he's grew up in like woods like that. He's not somebody who's easily spooked, obviously, but he had said that there were Sasquatch through there and then what he calls boogers. And everybody's going, boogers are Sasquatches. But in certain parts of the South, boogers like kind of a catch-all term, like boogeyman, boggle, bogart. It's from like a Western European fairy, basically. But
my grandmother would always say woolly boogers.
Woolly boogers always seems to be tied in with Bigfoot, but then woods boogers and just boogers could be anything. It's like a catch-all term. But he had said one night they were there and something starts laughing at them in the woods and starts coming towards them, and they're just like flipped out, scrambling to get their keys. And they said it came towards them, and then I think it veered off to the side, but it just sounded like a really weird laughter.
I think that's what freaked me out the most was the whole laughter thing.
Yeah, the whole laughter thing. So
it's deranged, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. So anyway, but it's a weird spot and everything. And it's another thing that's odd is in a follow-up email, she told me about the first Bigfoot experience she had, and it's another area that we've researched before that's actually been featured in our videos. We've just never named it before because it's a section that really people don't go to. It's kind of off to the side. She was just literally right down the road from there. So
I always like when we have areas that we get stuff going on, and we don't really share our locations except for like in the LBL. People know when we're in the LBL, but we don't really share our research locations because we want to cut down on other people going there, possibly hoaxing us or messing with us in any kind of way. So it's always interesting when somebody gets in touch with us and reports something and they tell us where they're experiencing that stuff. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's somewhere where we go. So that's always kind of like confirming of what we're experiencing and what we're seeing. Other people are actually experiencing that as well.
Once you roll that beautiful bean footage and put the email out there.
Yeah.
Sly Dog says, how do I send a video? I got 3 Fridays ago. It's the third one in 6 months. Send it. We will be catching up on emails now.
Yeah. We're I'm definitely catching up on emails now because I'm home.
But that is our email address if you want to send something to us. So, and then Leo Black asks, my wife and our new subscribers, thank you for subscribing, Leo. You ever come to Massachusetts, the Bridgewater Triangle? No, we don't. We have some friends who have done stuff up there. Alex Petikoff has been up in the Bridgewater Triangle before. I want to say that Kyle from Encrypted Connections has been in the Bridgewater Triangle, but don't hold me to that. I'm sure he can chime in the chat.
He's from up around he's in the Northeast. Right?
Yeah. So, but we've either talked about it or he's been there before, but we've never been up there. We mostly focus on the Southern Appalachians. Just when we do kind of like go out of our immediate area, it's usually to the LBL or Tennessee or everything like that. We'll eventually probably branch out into some other areas because Bridgewater Triangle is one of the places I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
But as of right now, no, we have not. If you've had anything happen there, let us know.
There's a lot of hot spots I eventually want to go to, but gosh, we are like, it seems like we're getting like our hands full right now. Like we were about to start really focusing on that area that we had that video come out Tuesday, the Dark Corner video. And we were like, all right, we're going to focus on this area for a while. And then we get this email and we're like, oh no, we have got to check this out too. So, and then we've got more emails for more areas to go and check out. So it's going to be a busy summer and a busy fall because we have a lot of places to go and check out.
BR Gator definitely X's in that for us in the latest video. Yeah, we didn't even include all of them because this was just like a little short video she put out. But it was some of the areas you go into, it's just noticeable. Sometimes you go into an area and there's like one or two and you don't know, it might be natural, it might be something. other areas you're into, and it's like everywhere you look at, you're just going, this is getting a little, and it's always in these areas with super weird activity that goes on. So anyway, Clowny wants to know, how do you weed through the hoaxers? We don't usually do a lot of investigating other people's accounts. So people will contact us with stories and stuff like that. And and some of them are more believable than others, but we're open to some pretty weird stuff. Would you agree?
We just, in order for us to pursue it, generally there has to be a lot of detail that we can kind of verify some things on. We do some scouting. We always do these scouting missions. We always check stuff out beforehand. And we don't let anybody know when or where we're going ever, because we want to cut down on the possibility of somebody hoaxing us. So, we'll let something lie for a while. We get a tip on something. We'll just let it sit for a while, and we'll go randomly. We don't ever go on the same days when we go places. We don't go at the same times, because we want to do things completely randomly. That way that nobody can kind of give us a tip and then hoax us or anything at this location.
It's weird because not even with hoaxing, but sometimes people that are legit experiencing like really weird activity, if it's intense enough, sometimes the stress and the intensity that's going on there has its own set of dangers. We were going to that house where that lady had what she thought was a dog man trying to get into her home.
Yeah.
And we were going up to we had a whole plan of attack set up, what we were going to go up there and do. And then everybody was armed and everybody was ready to shoot it. And there's it's not like you can stand between houses and spread your arms out and touch either side, but there's houses around there. It's a really wooded rural area. There's houses. And I'm going, it's a pretty tense situation, man. Either a neighbor's kid or dog is going to end up getting shot.
Yeah.
And then the cops are going to show up. Who are you guys? Well, we're Bigfoot hunters from South Carolina, and it's just going to go downhill for them. So we usually try to vet it as best we can. But what we do is usually just going out into areas that have a history of stuff, and it doesn't usually involve anybody.
Yeah.
So if somebody tells us a story, whether it's true or not, it's just another data point at that point. We're not really story collectors or people who present third-party accounts or anything like that. So therefore that kind of takes out us having to really kind of vet people for hoaxing
or deal with that kind of situation coming up. Ryan Holloway says, hey, do y'all think that camera glitch in today's video and last week's had any kind of connection? When you're referring to camera glitch in this week's video, are you referring to our camera kind of cutting off and shorting out?
Nope.
Then no, because those are two different cameras.
But there is a bit of distortion
in this video.
And it's two different cameras. It's to the side. He reached out to me earlier about it. I looked at it.
Which one is it?
It's the latest one you put out today.
Is it in the black and white footage or the?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It's the black and white footage.
You'll have to show it to me.
But yeah, you guys might hear fireworks going off occasionally. So, it's weird. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'll have to show me that.
I'll have to show her that.
We'll slow it down and take a look at it. But we were also, like he mentioned, the GoPro, when we got there, just started erroring out like crazy. He had to reformat it. He had to reset the whole thing. Now, the last time that the GoPro behaved in such a way was in the LBL when we were actually with Barton and Dewey and Martin. And we were trying to film. We were out at the station 16 and we were trying
getting
to film.
Really high RF signal.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a source for what was causing it. And it was
the GoPro kept just killing itself. So I had to film a lot of stuff with my phone on that little trip out there. So that's the last time that happened. Other than that, we've been using these cameras over and over and over again, and we've not had that problem again. It's just LBL and then at this place as soon as we got out of the car. And I was filming all the way in and I didn't have a single problem. But when we get to the location, the camera just starts just going haywire and just error over and over and over. So
kind of going to the chat here, just seeing.
Southern Sasquatch says, Jesse and Joe, you need to carry tasers. Okay, so with tasers, you have to have proximity to who you're tasing.
Or you've got to use the ones that have the cartridges.
Yeah.
And I think I might be talking just out of left field. I might be talking nonsense right now, but I think that don't you have to, if you just deploy the cartridge to get another one, you have to have like a police report or something like that.
I
don't know.
know.
So we need to.
I'm not carrying a taser because I'm not getting close enough to tase anything. So that's going to be my excuse for not carrying a taser. If I have something that is threatening my life, I've got a 10 millimeter. So I'm going to go with that because I just don't want to get close enough to tase anything. That's for sure.
All right. Somebody, Jaeger, somebody want to ask like hyena laughter. I don't know, but maybe we'll be able to get her on here and she could tell people herself and give it a little. Again, we've only communicated with her over email at this point. So
yeah, even if we could get her to come on just a phone call, just audio, that would be great.
Julie Bug says, hit that like button. Would it kill y'all to hit the like button? Seriously. So
we go over this every week. We've got a lot of people that fear what's going to happen if they hit it twice.
Who knows what'll happen if they don't hit the like button. So,
Sam said the fireworks started at 9, been going on for a week. Yeah, last night, people down the street from us, I think they were shooting bottle rockets at each other.
Fireworks wars.
Yeah.
So.
I just kept hearing screaming and bottle rockets. So.
What's weird, so M has a good thing here. Forget Bigfoot and Dogman. Your biggest danger is Lyme disease. What's weird is there were some really loud insects there for a while, and then the forest got really quiet. We didn't have a mosquito or tick one all night long. I did not have a single bite on anything. And I didn't put on insect repellent before we got out of there because I was messing with the camera so much that we were in and you went, did you put on insect repellent? I'm like, no, I did not. But there were no ticks, no mosquitoes there. So take that what you will. So
when we got home, I took a shower and I had a moment of fear that I had a tick, but I have a strawberry poppy seed soap bar. It was a poppy seed. So I was
just stuck to you because
I was using my soap bars in the shower.
Gotcha. Okay.
I thought a tick was on me and it was a damn poppy seed. So yes, no ticks, just poppy seeds.
No, just poppy seeds. Philip has got to take an egg with you. Place said egg on the ground. Ask if said entity is good or evil. Then break the raw egg. If the raw egg liquid is black or dark brown, said entity is negative.
Eggs are very expensive, but I will give it a try.
We need to get an egg carrier now.
Egg carrier. Hey, do you think we could get like a holster for eggs?
No, we need to get a. You always have those high school science classes that have to build the egg containers that you can toss off the roof. So we'll have to reach out. All right, let's see what else we got. Germanic werewolf. Do you guys ever plan on going to northern Michigan? Our buddy Drew is from Michigan, actually.
He lives up in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, so I would love to get in, especially the UP up through there would be amazing. And then Levi, Amy, have you been to Idaho? Not to research. Again, we mostly on the Southern Appalachians, but we're going to be probably towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, starting to branch out into some other spots. So there's a bucket list we have of some places that are coming that we really want to try to hit at that point. So
Marcus Aurelius says, are there any recorded instances from the original settlers in the LBL of cryptids or paranormal activities before they were flooded out of their homes?
Anecdotal reports, a ton.
Yeah.
We have not been able to find anything.
There's also reports amongst the local tribe that was up there. There's like historical folklore type reports. Yeah. But we've not found anything direct.
What's weird is that a lot of areas you go into that have like their own local little cryptid, they're really proud of it. No matter what has happened, they're pretty proud of it. They might have festivals like the Lizard Man, Skateboard Swamp. They're doing like a Lizard Man Fest now. A lot of these like communities will kind of embrace it now that this stuff's gotten popular. Not so at the OBL. I mean, you run into people down there that will talk about it kind of like in hushed tones. And then there's a lot of people that have lived down there their whole lives that have never had anything happen and think it's ridiculous, but that's like anywhere you go to, you go into Bray Road, there's people that say, yes, it happened. And then there's other people that go, nope, didn't see it myself. It's impossible. But you hear anecdotal stuff, but they were actually going to shoot at one point, there was a Beast of LBL movie, like an independent movie in the works down there that a local guy was doing, and they got a lot of pushback because there's a lot of still animosity of the fact that their land was stolen, And it seemed like a lot of people kind of latched onto that, going, listen, our land was taken from us here to make this. And now you guys want to make it known for an upright werewolf. So we hear anecdotal stories, but you don't really find anything written down so far.
Yeah.
So
we're going to
thank you for that, by the way,
yes,
Marcus.
We're going to keep doing some digging, though. It's kind of an ongoing project with the LBL. It's weird how much you find out, and you just keep finding out, and you keep doing the research, and you keep turning these stones. And eventually we'll probably find something, and we'll definitely put that out there, whatever we find going through. Moondog Davis says digital voice recorders running is a good idea. We generally have digital voice recorders running just to document everything that we're doing. We had the H1N Zoom running. We had it on top of a tripod at the location.
Mm-hmm. We just didn't carry it down with us when we were on foot scouting the road down, because it's 120 degrees, and we didn't want to carry the
any equipment other than what we could fit in our hand. But we did get something weird on our audio recorder that we had. The H1N was, I set it up on a tripod, and it's a multi-directional microphone on that. And I set it up on the tripod and aimed it towards where we initially heard that first yell. And we recorded the whole time. We were reviewing audio last night and got something very,
very weird,
strange. I was listening to the audio, and you hear the bugs, and you hear the cicadas or whatever. I don't want to mention the cicadas, but you hear everything, just the natural forest sounds. You can't really hear too much else. And then at some point, they kind of die down a little bit, and there is this almost hum that occurs, but it's only occurring in my left. I have the headphones on. It's only occurring in my left ear and the left side of my head, and it felt like it was vibrating the side of my head, and I was like, whoa. So I stopped it, and I ran in here, and I got Joe, and I was like, I need you to come listen to something real quick. So he goes in there and puts it on, and he looks at me and goes, so we put it out there, and we look, and whatever that was emitting something super low frequency.
Very low frequency. It was, I put it on Audacity, which is our sound like review software. It's just like free software that a lot of people use. And
put it on the spectrograph.
Yeah, and it was extremely strong, and it was extremely low frequency. I have yet to been able to find out. Most digital audio recorders, their frequency range will usually be human hearing range. So 20 hertz up to 20,000 hertz. So, and they're not really worried about recording anything outside those ranges, just because A, it's difficult and it's expensive, but B, you're not going to hear it anyway. These things are meant to play back sounds for you to listen to, but this was down to the 20 hertz limit and possibly beyond that. But it was extremely, and it was only in the microphone. The recorder has dual crossed microphones. So the microphone that was pointing at the area where we heard that call is what picked it up. And we've tried to debunk this to see if maybe there was an insect flying around it. That's not it. It's a sustained rumble in one microphone that is down to the cutoff. There's a plane that goes overhead usually, and those are usually the lowest frequency things we pick up out there.
And we did get a plane, and we compared.
And it's nowhere near close to that.
We compared the two, what they look like on the spectrograph and what they sound like. And the plane, and I'm just trying to describe this the best I can.
Did you put that in the video? Or
no, I didn't. No, I figured we'd probably try to look at that a little more before we share it. But I figured we could talk about it.
Yeah.
But I felt it. Did you feel it?
You feel it. You feel the headphone speaker, I guess.
But it feels like the side of your head is just getting like.
It's just shaking. Yeah. And when you look at it, it goes down to as low as Audacity will go to, which I think is around 20 hertz, maybe a little bit below that. But this was much lower frequency than a plane. So I don't know. It was just weird that it was just weird. We've never had anything like that on. And again, it's not infrasounds, it's not audible. It's below 20 hertz, but maybe there's something with a sound range from, 25 hertz to 15 hertz. And we were only catching the top end of it. I've never seen anything just max out the low end of that recorder like that before.
Yeah,
so
it was very, very weird. So we're going to look into that a little more and see if we can if we get it again next time we go, maybe compare it or see, because I didn't hear anything when it was occurring. I don't know exactly where I was, but just listening to it on that was so weird and unsettling. It was very,
Yeah.
very, very weird. Southern Sasquatch, y'all should hang Slim Jims from the tree branches, Jesse and Joe. So if I did that, I would probably eat them because I love processed snack meats more than anything in this world.
And she ain't joking. So, all
right. Rob S says, do you guys know if caves are in that area? Moonshiners say anything about that? I don't know about caves specifically, but there are a few tunnels, abandoned tunnels in the area that kind of go under certain features of the land that we're going to try to check out. And there's probably some old rail line tunnels through there as well. We're going to try to check out any of that we can kind of uncover. We're just getting started in that area. We've really never investigated in that area before, ever. So it's all new to us out there. We got a lot of work ahead of us when it comes to that particular location.
Karen Maxwell, thank you very much for that. Come to Oklahoma. The Wichita Mountains. Am I pronouncing that right?
That sounds good to me.
Is that the pronunciation, Karen? We would actually, when I said my bucket list is Oklahoma is like one of those spots I'd love to go to.
Oklahoma's beautiful.
That is probably the outside of our immediate region. If we had the chance to go any one particular place, probably Oklahoma, parts of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
To go to. So, but thank you for that. We greatly appreciate that. So, and then that's followed up by Darcy Parks. Thank you. $50. Darcy Parks. Thank you.
MVP.
It'll be in Oklahoma in no time. Flying first class. So, do you have any checked bags? Yeah. What is all this stuff? What can we tell people? We're like, we hunt butterflies or something like that.
We hunt butterflies.
Throw some nets on top of it. So thank you for that, Darcy Parks. We greatly appreciate it.
We do appreciate it very, very much. North Central Ohio Paranormal says H4N Pro, you can swivel them each to capture 90 or 120 degree recordings. 120 degrees would be good for capturing a field recording or a live performance as wider sound range. 90 degrees one-on-one. We have an H4N Pro.
We're actually running off it right now.
We are actually running off of it right now. Yeah, we are. We've decided since there's so much audio going on at that location, we will be taking the parabolic. We rarely have a chance to use the stupid parabolic.
Yeah, it's heavy,
I'm going to be honest with you.
It takes a while to set up. You've got to run it off auxiliary power. But I think this might be
the opportunity to use the parabolic.
Good opportunity to do it. So.
Yeah. So in the next video from this location, you'll probably see us deploy the Wildtronics parabolic dish and microphone set up with the H4N Pro connected to it. So we're going to try to get some high quality recordings of what we heard when we went down there. Because if we could capture that would be some of the best possible Bigfoot sounds.
That one was crazy that we heard.
That was,
And it's weird because I even hate the term. It's just annoying. But when we were going out, I just went, listen, out of all the places we've been into some areas with some pretty crazy, what could be paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Suspected dogman activity. As far as I hate, again, the vernacular, as far as a place feeling squatchy. Yeah, exactly. But that would be the place just because it felt it just felt weird, man. BRG wanted to see the blade check.
All right.
I had mine on the floor because I took it off my belt before we shut it up. And I'm carrying this is a Bad Blood Spartan. It's a little knife company that has since gone out of business. But I saw it wasn't an overly expensive knife, maybe $100. But I love the damn thing. It's a tank. I mean, it's an absolute tank. It's really freaking heavy. I love it so much that I finally found another one on eBay and grabbed a spare. Not that I'm ever going to break this, but that's what I'm carrying. And then Jesse's carrying.
I got a cool little setup. Can you see here? All right, here we go. Got a little setup right here. Yeah, this is buddy of mine actually gave me this on permanent loan. My buddy Lenny. It is a fixed blade Elvia. If you're familiar with Ed Calderon of Ed's Manifesto, this is kind of his signature blade. But it is a fixed blade Elvia, and that is so wicked. That is a great self-defense knife. And it just goes right in here. So
Stephen asked, speaking of Oklahoma, have you seen the documentary Bigfootville? I haven't seen it. Have you seen that?
No.
I have not seen that, Stephen. If it's
we'll add it to our list. I'll put it on here.
Yeah, let us know where it's at. Jesse takes notes nowadays because so much stuff comes out on this.
You know what? This kind of may sound a little goofy, but you know how you and I watch True Detective once a year and make
moving it up to twice a year.
Moving it up to twice a year. I make a big event out of it. True Detective season 1. We were watching that, and Matthew McConaughey's character, they call him the tax man because he carries around this big leather-bound notebook, and he writes everything down and makes drawings of everything. And a line that he says in there is, "You never know when something will break the case. Just something small will break the case later on, or something that you may have forgotten about that you maybe write down. Just a small, minute detail may break the case later on."
Mhm.
So for some reason, I was like, all right, so now I have just got to take my field notebook out
Mhm.
there. So I've been taking my field notebook out there, and I just take notes on everything. I write down everything, like the weather. If we park at a trailhead, I write down what types of cars are at the trailhead in case somebody goes missing or something like that. Something may pop up or something like that. So I just take extensive notes now on everything. And maybe down the line, one little thing will be that little piece of information that could either help somebody or break the case on something here.
Lady Wolf, how is the man doing from the last location? Where we live streamed at, he is still having some crazy stuff go on. I don't want to share too much of his personal information, but we had mentioned he was having some vision problems, and we thought that they might be tied into what's going on his property. Well, he actually had some eye surgery. He had to undergo surgery for part of it. His vision's clearing up in that eye, and instead of him looking out and going, "Oh, there's nothing going on at some of this stuff, it was just my vision." No, he's seeing more stuff down there more clearly.
Mhm.
So I was actually trading a few messages back and forth with him today. We were probably going to do a follow-up down there. Well, we're definitely going to do a follow-up down there. We may live stream from there if we can to share it, just to see what happens, just to see if we can get it to act up again like it was before. Where does Squatch roam? What's your parabolic setup? We use when we decided to, how do I want to back up here? We were previously running these like knockoff GoPro action cams. And when we were in, was it Georgia? We heard that high pitched, sounds like samurai chatter that time.
Yeah.
And we couldn't pick it up and it was another one of those moments that irritates everybody where we're going, "Do you hear that?" And you just can't hear it. The cameras won't pick it up.
Which is basically what we did on this video I released today.
Exactly. Although people,
annoying.
People are saying they're hearing it.
Yeah.
So if you turn it up loud enough,
turn it up loud and put your headphones on, like right before we have that reaction.
It. So we decided we wanted to get a parabolic setup. So some people make them. I decided to do a real deep dive into it. So we ended up going with, there's a company called Wildtronics, and it's basically for wildlife biologists, bird watchers who want to hear bird song and all that. They make a really good, what I learned is there's a really expensive American parabolic dish company, an expensive European parabolic dish company, and an expensive Japanese. The American was going to be the cheapest for us to get done. So we ended up getting what's called a Wildtronics Pro Mini. It's a smaller one, but it's exceptionally well made. It's exceptionally well designed. It does a great job picking up sound. We got that because it needs to be backpack portable for us.
It's super light.
Super light. And then we have an XLR mini mic that Wildtronics makes as well that's specially designed for it. And then we hook that into our Zoom H4n Pro like we were just talking about. But then it runs on phantom power, so that drains the batteries really quickly. So we have to run everything off auxiliary battery blocks, which now you've got the parabolic dish, the microphone, the wire going into the Zoom, everything's hooked on a tripod, and then you have external battery sources that do a pretty good job of lasting. But if you're going to use it for long term, you got to have a couple of them.
Yeah.
So it's a pain to set up. It's a pain to break down.
And you're not going to be able to go through the woods and move around with it at all.
So we use it less than what we thought we were going to.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people will carry around those plastic handheld ones that you'll see.
We actually bought one of those.
We bought one of those and returned it 2 days later because we were like, this is crap. So we got one that is actually used by like people who are really into bird watching that can identify birds based on their bird song. So something that professionals use. Yeah. So we got that, and it's so much better.
Well, Penny Van goes, "I've been asking channels of this genre over and over again if they use the parabolic to catch proper audio, and most won't even answer the question. I can't imagine not using one. It's useful, but we don't do a lot of stationary investigations where we just hang out in one spot. And even if we do, a lot of times we'll pack up and then head into the woods because everybody keeps telling us you move around too much. We don't have, I can't speak to anybody else's experiences except for ours. And I'd love to stay stationary, wouldn't you? That'd be a hell of a lot easier than what we do, but it doesn't seem to work for us. moving into the woods and kind of stirring stuff up has given us the most success. So again, the parabolic, if you're set up stationary, it's going to work well. But we rarely set up stationary. And if you already don't have it up and running, you're not going to get it up in time if you hear something.
Yeah.
Again, you've got to deploy the tripod, screw the parabolic dish on. You
Position the microphone in the
microphone's
dish.
got to be very precisely positioned in order to catch the sound that's being reflected from the dish. Hook it up to your Zoom, get everything running off auxiliary power, zoom into the sound. So, so it's not going to be that useful in a lot of the stuff we do, but it might be useful in this place.
Yeah, in this instance, because we're going to be on that kind of platform almost.
Yeah.
That little spot is almost like a platform. We can point it in the direction that we're hearing the sounds from. And because it seems like, according to our witness, the sounds are so consistent that we'll be able to set up and be prepared for when they do happen, and hopefully possibly record them in a high quality manner.
I don't even know what the flock's going on about. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Easy there, stripper.
Oh, that's because I showed my knife.
Oh, good Lord. All right.
Showed me knife.
That was too much skin. He's very offended right now. Hope you know that. So you've offended our boy. Anyway.
Somebody may accuse you of pimping me out or something.
Oh, my Lord. That won't be the first time. So.
Oh.
All right. So. Not today, Saban says. Joe and Jesse talk this week UAP-wise, which we have been out of the UAP loop entirely.
Yes.
Unidentified submerged objects. Water, salt water has such superconductive properties, it's more feasible than credited. Yeah, I have not. We've been out of the loop on the UAP stuff just because it's weird. We were going, I really miss doing just Bigfoot stuff, but we don't really get a lot of like Bigfoot activity. And then it's like the universe just answered us and started throwing Bigfoot reports at us. And it was just kind of like we dove back in.
And it's exciting again.
Yeah, it's weird because for a while we were just, I would tell people, listen, we didn't set out to get involved in all this like crazy stuff like we were getting into in North Georgia, but you got to go where the stuff takes you to. And that's where it was taking us to. And it's like now the universe is like leading us in a different direction momentarily. But what's weird is that I was psyched when we went and checked out that first area, the dark corner.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was really rough going.
That was
a hard 10 miles, man. I was feeling it.
It was a very hard 10 miles.
But it was kind of like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's kind of relaxing to get back out and do the Bigfoot stuff. And then we do this spot, which is Bigfoot and something else. It's scarier than hell, man. It was like, it was a very, very intense spot. Very intensive.
Steve Ray 1975 says, set up a mic and camp out in that cul-de-sac overnight. That would make a creepy video. The only problem we have is it is so scary in that turnaround thing. We could do that. I think we're going to probably get there early, set up everything, because it seems like right before dusk is when everything starts to kick off. Yeah. And then we'll stay there for a long time and really just have that parabolic ready, listening, monitoring, and just have it ready to go. Because as soon as those yells start up, I want to get those. I really want to get those. But if I get laughing, I'm going to get freaked out. But it is what it is. That's
a great question here. Mr. Grimm, what do you think about low frequency being used like a meditation frequency to stimulate the pineal gland for possible mind speak? I don't know. I
was thinking today.
That's a real good question.
I was thinking today, is there anything that, this may be a question like, oh, you don't know about this. What's wrong with you? Is there something that is specifically like a CE5, but for Sasquatch?
Well, I mean, you hear people talk about going out and playing. Again, CE5 is getting to a meditative state.
Right.
And then I don't even really know other than that. I don't know the specifics of CE5. I'm not messing with that voodoo. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what all steps are involved other than the meditative state and that you basically open yourself up to it and you kind of call to it.
Right.
There are people that do that. I don't think there's a singular like prescribed methodology like CE5 is. Maybe that's what you could do. You could start a Bigfoot cult.
I could develop.
You could be like the Stephen Greer of the Bigfoot world.
Oh, great.
Get all jacked, Get all jacked. Charge people like $20,000 to call in Bigfoot.
Get all my Bigfoot.
So I don't know.
Groupies.
But to that pineal gland comment, write down pineal gland mind speak on your notes there, because that's something worth looking into a little bit more. Thank you for that, Grim. We get the coolest stuff on this.
You need to decalcify your pineal gland.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write down about the CE5 Bigfoot thing too,
Yeah.
because I was thinking about that earlier today, and I was like, somebody has got to have come up with something by this point, haven't they?
Kim Drescher had a thing. Wonder if you could set up that parabolic dish where you guys are, maybe set up 3 other people in a quadrant of a mile square. A, if we had 3 other people. B, if we had 3 other people, I'm assuming you were talking about all of them having parabolics. So we would need 3 more people with parabolics. I don't know if we even have one other person that we could, well, maybe got one, but if I will tell you this though, Kim, that if there's an area that calls for more people than just the 2 of us, it's that spot right there. It's that spot that we were in this past week that came out today. That's a very, I was stressed being in there, and it was just something about it, not even the calls, because we've been in the woods and heard weird screams before, but it was just the feeling of going down that paved road to get there, and there's just trees in it, and it was like apocalyptic. You know what I'm saying? So it was just very, very weird.
Kim was also wondering if we could get somebody to come down there and drum in that space, maybe drum some up.
Now, here's the other thing too, is the witness said, I don't know if you've read the subsequent emails, she warned us to be very quiet in there. Mm-hmm. That there was moonshining that went on back in the day, but that supposedly nobody does that anymore through there. But, and that like it, I don't know, but she was very specific about being quiet down there, and I haven't got an answer yet as to why. So,
well, good thing we're not hoopers and hollers and tree knockers.
Mike A asks, is there such a thing as an affordable, decent FLIR? Is that harder to find than a Bigfoot? We started out with like that FLIR Scout TK, like everybody else does, and it's good in short distances, and I mean like 50 feet or less. You know what I'm saying? So we still use that sometimes if we're in an area that's really overgrown. But I'll tell you right now, if you wanted to get probably the best bang for your buck is going to be
the AGM.
Yeah, an AGM Taipan TM15384. That's going to run you probably about $1,300 to $1,500, but it's going to be useful. It's what Jesse usually uses. That's the one that you see her use in there. It's great. I mean, it's really, really good.
I love that thing.
No magnification on it, but we have a Pulsar Axion XQ38 that has a base magnification. It's like 2.5 or 3.5. And a lot of the times we find ourselves reaching for that AGM because the base magnification works better. So, and the professor has built his own parabolic dish. Very well pleased with it. The professor of Soggy Bottom. Or the Wizard of Soggy Bottom. I'm mixing his nicknames back up. So, let's see through here. What do we got?
Boondog Davis, that thing you used at Brown Mountain.
Probably talking about the psionics.
That's a full color night vision. That's not a thermal or anything like that. It's a full color night vision. Speaking of Brown Mountain, I'm heavy into editing. I'm hopefully going to have Brown Mountain done in the next couple of days. So there will be a look out for more releases. I'm definitely saying that. If you guys, if you missed any of our releases over the past couple of days, make sure that your notifications are on.
Make sure you're still subscribed.
Make sure your notifications are on, because I'm going to be editing and finishing up a lot of stuff that I've been meaning to finish for a long time. I've got time now. So I'm here like hammering through a lot of stuff that I've needed to get done in terms of editing. And I'll be updating the website. I updated the website a little bit today. I'm going to be updating that some more. And I'm also running through some ideas on some new stuff and new content that I kind of want to put together for everybody. If you guys aren't tired of us yet, you will be. No.
You will be soon. Susan Crispin says, you don't know what you're opening yourself up to with CE5. You have started the age-old debate between Jesse and I. Jesse wants to try CE5. I think it's basically like sorcery, for lack of a better term, man. You're summoning stuff and you don't know what you're summoning. And then Melanie S has a good thing. Joe and Jesse making Bigfoot fun again. We actually catch some grief every time we do this. You guys aren't taking it seriously. And I'm like, yes, yeah, you're right. We have dumped almost every penny we've made into this equipment to not take it seriously. We take the subject seriously, but you still need to have fun with it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not under any illusions that we're out saving the world or doing anything like that. I mean, if you're not enjoying it at the end of the day, you're not going to stick with it. And it's a fun topic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if it gets grim, it's still something you need to enjoy. I see these people that are so bitter that are just like on social media and they're just griping about everybody involved with it. And you're just all so dumb. And I'm going, this obviously does not bring you any joy. Why don't you go take up like badminton or something? What's that thing we're looking at?
Pickleball.
Yeah, go take up pickleball. You know, what's something that makes you fun, makes you enjoyable. So
They put in pickleball courts in our town, but they put them all the way by the civic center, so it's very far from people's houses. So that's great.
Ghost Dog, any investigations in North Carolina? We were actually, the last time we were doing stuff in North Carolina is when we got that rash of dogman sightings. We went up and met our friend from Cryptid Response that's on here occasionally. Met him, talked about his encounter. He showed us around a few spots. We were looking at the property that we just talked about where everybody was trigger happy and we were worried somebody was going to get shot. The area that we used to go to in North Carolina is like, as the population has grown there, is like overran right now.
Yeah.
Not deeper in, nobody gets really past the first 2 water barriers. So if you can get past those, you don't see a soul. But the front part of it is like, just when I say overwhelmed, like overwhelmed. It's a little spot in the mountains and you pull up and you can't park.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start getting that many people, you have to start realizing that you can't really trust anything you hear or anything that you find, and the possibility of hoaxing goes up a lot more.
Oh, for sure.
So, but if you know of any good spots that are remote in Ghost Dog that are having activity, hit us up. So, all right.
I've got some in the start zone.
You got some stuff. Let's pull them up. Alan Lassiter, what's up, buddy? What's y'all's favorite equipment that you have? Favorite is for me, the infrasound detector, just because that's novel and there are extremely few people that have it that are using it. And I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say there's even fewer people that have taken the time to dive into infrasound. So I think that when we look at it, we're maybe seeing something other than what other people are seeing. We're getting a really good idea of what natural infrasound looks like. So for me, that's probably the most useful in that it's novel. It's again, the whole thing is we don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Everybody's always like, why don't you carry plaster to do footprints? Because there's enough cast footprints out there.
And I'm terrible at casting footprints.
Yeah, and it's not going to, another footprint, no matter how good it is going to move the needle one bit. And there's people that are better than us doing that. Let them have that. We're going to try to do our own stuff. So it's that. As far as our favorite piece, probably gonna be the thermals, won't it? I know that's
for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, probably the thermal imagers, just because that's such
for me, that's the great equalizer. In the forest.
That's what we used at the LBL, and got a very hot wolf-like figure on it, and then a very cold outline of something on it. But yeah, probably the thermals that we have. So. Philip said, I have an odd feeling that if you both would use 1950s recording technology, you'd have amazing results. It's not rational, but we've talked about that before.
We've discussed that before, that there's a difference, that it seems like there's a difference in the amount of evidence you can collect on digital versus analog. It seems like through analog means people are getting better and more evidence in a way. And I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is or what is going on there. But it seems with the analog technology, like even when you're doing like ghost hunting, a lot of the EVP type stuff is you seem to have better luck with analog technology.
I got a couple that are really, man, that chat is on fire tonight, man. Marcus Aurelius, thank you again, buddy. So have you talked about one of your most terrifying incidents, moments you've encountered on an excursion? What's your most terrifying moment that you've encountered?
Probably the bluff charge.
Yeah.
The bluff charge is probably one of the scariest things that ever happened to me. Or yeah, probably that. Or when we went back to the real creepy tree that
Mhm.
had the stones around it, and we collected our audio recorder, that we actually got those really crazy bit of audio on of the two creatures seemingly interacting on there. When we went and picked that up, before we even knew what was on that recorder, we get there and then we hear one of them, whatever it is, kind of making that clicking noise. It was still
Mhm.
there. We had no idea what was on that recorder at that point. We just picked it up, and then all of a sudden we heard that like clicking noise thing. That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And you could hear it on the video too. And then on the video, you have the two eyes that come off the side of the tree. That was pretty
Mhm.
freaking scary.
And I'm going to drop a teaser on mine just because we're not going to really talk about it that much. But the last little bit of Panther Town, right before we got to the vehicles, probably
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah.
The
Now,
only time I've stood there and just gone, we're not making it out of here. And that's just my whole thing was, and it sounds so dramatic, but am I being overly dramatic when I say it?
no.
My whole thing is just like, let me try to slow everything down enough so Jesse can make it to the car. And that was like, I had a very fatalistic sense of just, this was it. And I'm going to try my best to slow everything down so Jesse makes it to the car. I don't even know if I can do that. So
I gotta say also, the last time we went to the LBL and I saw that black
yeah, because you
figure again,
you
'cause
sunk
I
to the
just-
ground and just started crying at that point. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So look for that joyous video
Yeah, look
coming
for
out
that-
soon.
that
I'm gonna start going
feel good movie of the year
feel good
there.
movie of the
So
year. I'm gonna be going through the LBL stuff soon, and
yeah.
I think I'm doing shorter videos for the LBL stuff. It's gonna be shorter releases on that. So again, notifications on, kids.
So Grimm has got a good thing here. Right, make a notation of this if you don't mind.
Gotcha.
Because he talks about different I'm assuming Grimm is a man or a woman, I'm not sure, but different magnetic wavelengths can trigger almost euphoric religious experiences. Maybe combination with a low frequency. I don't think that a lot of this stuff is caused by sound frequency. I think a lot of the anomalous phenomena, equipment interference, battery drain, some of the physical effects are right what you're talking about. It's electromagnetic. And yeah, they can put batteries. Do they actually put batteries?
So this
on your
magnetic wavelength
you can tweak-
business, that the God helmet does that.
The God helmet does that. And there's other people, they've used basically magnetic stuff to, they did a study where it lessened people's feelings of xenophobia and everything like that. So it made people feel more religious when they were done. So that's a good point, Grimm. Your Grimm's on fire tonight.
On fire.
And then Southern Sasquatch says the Croatoan?
Croatoan?
I don't know. The Croatoan. I guess just write that down verbatim. Forest in North Carolina. If you got any other details on that, let us know.
That's probably
Man,
cool. That's close to the coast.
The chat's got some good stuff.
Yeah, that's probably close to the coast.
Dun, dun, dun. Farrah Down. Thank you. Well, Farrah Down, he threw $10 at us and then says she has 488 acres in eastern Tennessee. Sasquatch pod activity, dogman sightings, a huge cave in my backyard that's haunted. Would love for you all to come and investigate.
That's pretty cool.
Farrah, get in touch with us because if you were having stuff like that, go on. And we have talked to a couple of different people that have property that have stuff like that going on.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that we're the best or the brightest or anything like that, but I could tell you that if you have activity out there and you're kind of wanting to get an idea of what all is going on, if we set up stationary, we can bring stuff to bear that I want to go on a limb and say no one group can do.
Right.
We can test for infrasound, EMF, RF, magnetic fields. We can run thermal, night vision. We can have parabolic dishes. We can blanket digital audio recorders all over the property. So if you were serious about that, shoot us an email at hellbentholler@gmail.com and get in touch with Jesse here because that would be awesome. And thank you for the $10 in addition to that. So
yeah, that'd be really awesome.
of course, Stingray has got a state-of-the-art 4-track analog recorder. We might actually go into doing some analog recording sometime.
I'd like to do some analog experiments for sure. Not just with the Sasquatch type stuff with audio or whatever, but with everything like cross spectrum paranormal and see if there's any kind of merit to the difference between analog and digital and gathering evidence. Maybe run both of them at the same time and compare the recordings that you get.
Charles Lindsay, did y'all pick up on any infrasound of dread while researching the Laughing Bigfoot? We were very ill at ease. We were very on edge. We were very, again, like I said, when we were pulling out and Jesse stopped, she was messing with something and we're just sitting there and the headlights are going forward and it's just pitch black all around us. I'm just sitting there and I almost just went, will you just throw the damn car in gear and just move us forward, get us out of here a little bit? I'm not usually like that. It was just very on edge. And the fact that we picked up that extremely low, it's still audible sound, but it's about as low of an audible sound as you can get. It's just down to where the microphone and Audacity cut out. So if infrasound is a thing, that's the one thing that's happened to us so far, and that we've had some sort of evidence afterwards that makes me go, that could be infrasound. Now, we didn't deploy the infrasound detector because, again, that's you got to be stationary. You can't really move with it. You got to have it stationary. You got to have it level. And if you jostling will give you a false read. So that's something you've got to kind of set up. Even if you're on the move, you got to set it up, stabilize it, let it run, and then pack it up and move on at that point. But any spot that was going to have it, it probably would have been there. So
you're giving not today, Saban an aneurysm today.
What's that?
Not today, Saban's having an aneurysm.
Why? What's going on?
It's down at the bottom of the starred. Go to the starred.
Yeah, but I'm talking about sound frequencies. I'm not sure if it's like, I don't think it's a mechanical sound. I don't think it's a mechanical wave that's happening with that. I don't think it's a traditional infrasound wave that's doing that stuff. I might be wrong. And quite honestly, with what we experienced this past week is the one thing that made me kind of go, that's interesting. But I'm going to start preparing a list of just bad scientific stuff every week and just drop it out and watch Saban just batshit.
Just wait for the obituary to come through.
So, Alan Lasser, what do you think is up in Panthertown? I have no clue. We recently made contact with a guy on Facebook, of all places, who has been in there and has had some really weird stuff happen.
Recently too.
Recently. So we've been kind of talking to him as he lives in the area. So he's been going in and he's like a madman. He's in there with like a couple of dogs and like a semi-automatic shotgun. He carries a sword. He's extremely well armed, and he goes in and he gets sketched out like you would not believe in there. So anyway. Just curious, do they have any sense what the laughing beast was? Was it a critter, a human, possibly disembodied? They don't think it was a person.
They didn't see it. They didn't lay eyes on whatever this was. But
the husband didn't think it was a Bigfoot. He said it was something else.
Yeah.
So, I don't.
And then it slapped the side of the vehicle.
Yeah, something hit the side of the vehicle as they were leaving out. Philip, don't wish to bore you both, but do you believe the beast of LBL may be a tulpa? What we saw was giving off body heat, a lot of body heat. It was hotter than a normal animal, and it was shaped like a wolf. But I come back to this thing of, the LBL's got some dense spots. I mean, there could be a breeding population of something in there smart enough to stay hidden. You know what I'm saying? And they were doing something with all that chopper activity and the explosions and all that.
Yeah, there was something definitely going on with that.
But I will say this, Philip, I don't think, and I think you would agree with me on this, that we don't think there's any one entity that factors into any of this stuff, that we think that there's different entities that people might collectively think of as dogman. And that's why some of them appear to be flesh and blood. Some of them appear to be demonic. Some of them appear to be like almost absurd, that there's different things that are either presenting themselves like that or that your brain is interpreting like that. So
Kentucky Boy 22 says, LBL native here. I still don't know how you guys don't have 100,000 followers yet. You guys rock. Well, we're on our way. We're actually almost
spread the word.
Make sure you share our stuff. That would be great. Make sure you like, comment, all that stuff on its stuff, and it'll get in front of more people. But we're about to hit 10,000 right now, which is
forever, man.
It's taken us forever, but it's been a labor of love. So we're happy to do it. Kim Drescher says, I was listening to Scott Carpenter today, and he was talking about how this creature's messing with us. There's been a lot of instances where we're out there and we're prepared for one type of phenomenon to occur. And then something else completely different happens. Like we'll go out there prepared for like a Bigfoot hunt, and all of a sudden a lot of weird more like ghostly or poltergeist type activity occurs. So then we come out the next time prepared for something like that, and then it's just the complete opposite occurs. So it's almost like sometimes when we're dealing with this phenomenon that it's like there's a trickster element to it all. And I think Jacques Vallée talks about how the absurdity, it just like you're constantly chasing the absurdity of it. And I think that's part of it. I think that part of it is some of it could be a trickster element. It could be something older than time as far as we know. So
Take Two Wheels had just asked if we were familiar with the Pulsar merger. I was looking that up. I have not seen that before. I thought that was maybe fusion at first, but I'm not familiar with the Pulsar merger. I'll just take a look at that.
Stingray 1975 suggests you hit that like button.
Yeah, could you guys do it just for Stingray, if not for us? So Alan Lessard asked what I thought about Not Deer. Not Deer started kind of catching steam when you started seeing a lot of people relocate to this part of the South. And I still think that, and it was something that you've never really heard of before. My best guess is that Not Deer is a combination of people from urban areas moving to rural areas and not being familiar with how weird deer act sometimes. And then chronic wasting.
Disease.
Chronic wasting disease. So,
I saw it stand up on two legs and eat something from a tree. That's what deer do.
So yeah, deer do kind of stand on hind legs sometimes and get up. So I think that it's
deer do.
It's what?
Deer do.
Deer do. Yes. So can't believe it's not deer. Good Lord.
A deer do.
So, all right, what else we got? Man, we're pretty caught up on the chat tonight. The chat's been on fire, but I think we've done I've done a really good job tonight keeping up on the chat.
You're doing a great job.
Doing a great job, Joe. So that drove people crazy when I did that. People. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good talk, everybody. Going back through here, North Central Ohio Paranormal. Analog voice operated recorder, microset recorder with an external mic. If you've got a model that you use, let me know. And let me know how the voice operated feature is. A lot of times with the digital ones, there's like a delay on it, and you sometimes end up missing what that was trying to record before it kind of kicks on. So let me know what you've got. Southern Sasquatch talked about a drone with thermal imaging. It's cool because those are getting cheaper all the time. They're still outside. Yeah. Again, we're self-funded, so it's outside of our budget right now. But eventually we're going to get one. Now keep in mind, a real heavily wooded area. When we were out the other night, it was so heavily wooded, the thermal was like useless. You just had no visibility of it. So with high-V tree cover, you're going to be looking for just little bits of heat, and you won't really be able to identify it, but you could move closer towards it. Mm-hmm. So
it was asking, did y'all have any problems with a giant sunflower yesterday? Unless that's what happened to our. Well, no, that wasn't yesterday.
It wasn't yesterday. So no, we did not have any problems yesterday. So
we're immune to sun flares because we're vampire people. We stay out of them though. You're gonna love it. Ray Provincio says, have you ever felt you experienced infrasound?
If what this past weekend would be the closest thing that I could have possibly have thought of, just because we had that feeling of just really being just creeped out far more than what you would expect. And then that really low frequency sound that we caught on the recorder.
You almost got frustrated when you heard it because you're like, they're going to think it's infrasound.
Yeah. But guess what? That might have continued past the range of what the microphone could pick up. So
we could be changing our tune at some point about this whole thing. Stingray 1975 says, Joe, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. See, that positive reinforcement. It's all I need.
That's all you need.
Saban's still stroking out here. And vibrations, the particles create sound, whether human senses perceive them or not. Yes, but would you say that that is different than infrasound the way it's commonly referred to? That it is something that is biologically created from an animal, because that's how it's generally described as Bigfoot has hit you with infrasound. Yes, there's inanimate objects called infrasound. I mean, you get them from meteorites entering the atmosphere, avalanches, earthquakes, oceanic activity, everything like that. But I will say, I want to point this out though, the energy of a portal would create a massive amount of interference. That's something I've been looking into, is that what people hypothesize, basically a portal would be a wormhole, and what people hypothesize a wormhole would generate. If it would have to be something on the electromagnetic spectrum that we can detect coming out of there. Maybe other stuff too that we can't detect, but it seems like it would give off something. And when people started telling us about that 1.6 gigahertz signal that they were getting at Skinwalker Ranch, I kind of keyed in on that, going, does that maybe have something to do with portal activity? Is that what we saw that night when we got it on the full spectrum and the thermal? Was that some sort of portal opening up, even though it kind of took off into the air? Or was it, I don't know. I don't have the vocabulary to explain what
It's
it
coming
was.
after you again.
Yep.
Nope.
All right. So what do we got?
Right.
Southern Sasquatch is not throwing you $5 for the donkey fund. The donkey talk kind of dropped off, man. So,
yes, it did. The donkey talk. Welcome to Donkey Talk.
Thank you for that, Southern Sasquatch. And then you might want to invest in a submersible drone for the lakes.
Nope,
Jesse,
we're not doing anything with any lake monsters. We're not lake monstering here, not like lake monster in there.
No lake monsters.
No lake monsters. So. James Barker asks, quick question. What insect repellent do y'all like for your gear? We use Sawyer Super Mega Deet, whatever Super Mega Deet option Sawyer has. That does pretty good. We spray that on our boots because that keeps the ticks from crawling up us and attacking us. But it does not keep the poppy seeds away.
Marcus wants to know any plans to begin selling cryptid documentaries on Amazon. You know what? It's always been a time issue for us, but now that Jesse's got some free time, she might end up doing some more in-depth material out there because, I mean, again, we've got a backlog of like a ton of material that we just can't get out because, again, the field investigations take the most of our spare time. And then we were both working full time. So Jesse might, while she's taking a breather, try to get some of that stuff out.
And to follow up on that, Julie Bug asked, have you guys ever thought about doing a Kickstarter? I really don't know the rules and regulations it entails. We don't want to do a Kickstarter to get like a big sum of money or anything like that. If we did any kind of funding thing, I would do something that's kind of ongoing, like a subscription type model for extra content, extra videos, extra live streams and stuff like that. We've been kind of banding that about a little bit. If there's interest in us eventually doing a subscription type model, we would have free stuff, of course, on the YouTube channel.
We could do a bomber subscription thing. You could do like free like field investigations, and then you could do members only field investigations.
Yeah, we could do that.
Do the members only stuff to be able to widen your net of places that you could go to.
And it would be completely uncensored as well if we did a subscription thing. So we would be censored here. Well, we'd have to watch ourselves here. Of course, it is YouTube. But on over in the members only section, we could be uncensored and kind of go with the spicier stuff if we.
Well, you start getting like an income stream for this. You can get like liability insurance in some of these private areas that you want to go into. You can go. We're fully insured, so you'll run no, risk of anything.
So if you guys would be interested in something like that, let us know. Because that's something we kind of tossed about a little bit.
Because a lot of people that do membership stuff, they only just do like extra like interview shows or anything like that. You can actually do
a lot
members
of
only
stuff.
like field investigations. You could live stream from the areas that you have signal at, and
we could do live investigations that would be members only.
Now, apparently, that spot we were just at has signal somewhere in there, but they said it's spotty. But we might be able to use the signal booster that Steve Causey made for us to get enough of a signal to actually live stream out of there. And that's going to drive people crazy. It'll be a little glitchy in certain areas. Thank you for that, Lady Wolf. Much love and respect always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Gunpowder Owl says that Joe should start an OnlyFans.
You laugh. How do you know I don't already have one? So, Alan Lassiter wants to know, do y'all talk to any Native Americans in North Carolina about their belief in Bigfoot or other creatures? Jesse's got a friend, actually, it's his father's an elder, right? And the father is an elder with the Catawba. Am I telling this correctly? With the Catawba, and the father is an elder and is familiar with all the folklore and doesn't believe any of it at all. Does not believe anything of it at all, but he's not really much of an outdoorsman. The son that Jesse knows believes all of it because he's had experiences out there with it. Cherokee, it's weird because most of the areas we go into is where the overlap with where the Cherokee were. And they have the Sulkulu myth, is it a 9-fingered giant? 12 finger giant. I just
Seven.
phased 7-finger giant. So, but
Judicula,
Sulculu, but there's a Cherokee equivalent to that. But and then the Cherokee have stuff, the Ninihi, which are basically the equivalent of elves. They've got the little people, the Cherokee little people. They've got raven mockers. They've got all sorts of cool stuff. But the areas where the Cherokee will say, "Hey, don't go in there, or be careful when you go in there," we have found corresponding activity that takes place.
Usually when we start an investigation, we'll look in the area and see what folklore is associated with that area. We start with James Mooney's myths and formulations of the Cherokee. That's usually a good starting point, because the people that lived on this land first were the people that could talk about it the best. They had the first experiences with these creatures and these entities. So that's a good place to start your research.
North Central Ohio Paranormal. Call blast with a tone generator from your phone to a Bluetooth speaker, 1 hertz to 22,000. The only problem is that a lot of speakers, you'd have to have a very expensive subwoofer. Although Saban might be able to help us brainstorm on it, because I've thought about that on a way to generate infrasound. I've seen some things online, and usually they're very bulky, very power intensive. It's not something you can move through. But we might top our science advisor here, because I would love to be able to go out and generate up infrasound and see if we could draw something.
If he doesn't have an aneurysm,
we're gonna stroke him out before we're done.
Stroke him.
Anyway, honestly, your Appalachian light orb video and LBL stuff held my attention more than Finding Bigfoot. It's weird just because I think that Finding Bigfoot was, I guess, useful to introduce it to a lot of people. And I guess if you had gotten overly complex, or again, at the end of the day, the network's telling them what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, who knows, man? The network might pick us up sometime and you see us, all of Jessie's tattoos are covered up with makeup. She's blonde, Hello, everybody. We're going squatching today. But
my name is Jess Marockman.
Just crack yourself up there. So, all right.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And you'll be JoJo.
I'll be JoJo.
I'll be
JoJo.
Jess Marockman. Oh.
Hey, entertain everybody for a second. So,
we don't want to do an OnlyFans, guys. We got another guy that's Hellbent Holler OnlyFans. I like it. I'm down. We wouldn't do an OnlyFans. We would probably do it would just be a subscription type thing. We do a lot of our videos on here. We just have extra stuff for like a membership thing. It would not be on OnlyFans. So that would not be where it's at. It would definitely not be on OnlyFans. Let's see here. Moondog Davis says, I'm sure I'll heard it before, but on that road, I'd use a predator call. What kind of predator call would you suggest? I mean, I know that people talk about doing like injured rabbit calls and stuff like that.
Yeah, that actually might not be
so that something would come in and possibly come after. Yeah. But there's a lot of wildlife out there, so it's pretty interesting. That'd be pretty interesting. What would kind of like happen with that?
I wanted to take a second. Patty Gunther is one of our subscribers, and she sent us a donation a couple of weeks ago, and I was asked her if we could mention her online to thank her. Okay. And she said yes, and we had equipment issues that night. It was the night our mics were screwed up and we were all thrown off. So Patty, thank you for that.
Yes,
sorry it took a couple of weeks to thank you for that, and I apologize, but we really appreciate that. Thank you. So all right, so
Cowboy was asking, subscribe to our locals Patreon, YouTube membership.
We're probably eventually moving away from YouTube. So matter of fact, Patty had asked, she didn't want to super chat anything because YouTube takes such a large cut. So she just,
Yeah. I'm looking at just doing Subify and just having my own thing. I don't want to the risk of getting censored on Patreon, YouTube, a couple others, the risk of getting censored for things or just having everything lost because of weird censorship is very, very, very possible with those. So I'd go with something that I could not be censored on with any of the content. I would like to just talk about what I want to talk about and not get censored. So I'd go with something that is without that. So I'd let you all know if we do that. We'd figure that out and make it work.
Gunpowder Al goes, he talks, I've actually heard of injured dog predator calls. Is that a thing? I've never heard of that before.
Your dog?
Maybe more attractive to predators. Let's see. Injured dog.
James Barker says predator call, Joe cutting his chest with a machete, obviously.
Coyote pup squalor makes the sound of an injured dog. I think it's inexpensive either. You want to try an injured dog like sound? So
Let me see if I can just recreate it myself.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me hear your injured dog sound.
No.
Let me hear it one more time.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I'm surprised one of them's not busting through the wall right now.
They're coming right now.
Actually, so here, Take Two Wheels has got how about using a recorded call of that low frequency sound on your last video and run it through a speaker? That's a good idea. Could you make a note of that?
Yes.
That's a damn good idea. That's a damn fine idea. So.
Take Two Wheels. This thing is going to be like, that's me.
So M has got a good thing.
I know him. He's me.
Actually, he added it in as I was doing it. He said, try a recording of a crying human, baby, I mean, and you always hear about that where people will go.
They already heard a crying human out there. Never mind. That was me crying.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Tired.
It was hot and tired. But, that's something that I've thought about doing is doing that crying baby call just to see because there are people that have claimed that has just brought the woods down, that there are people that have said they have done it and they've never done it before. Never done it again afterwards, just because it is just so you get such a violent response from it. So.
A violent response.
Yeah. So then Sasquatch, $5 for the barge fund. Donkeys, barges. We're bringing back all the classics tonight. So bringing back all the classics.
Hey, barge party for everybody.
Barge party. So
we need to have a thing when we get money, confetti comes down and little barges pop out.
Little mechanical barges just go back and forth behind us like on railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So
you were supposed to use this money for research and you just had this custom.
You just had custom barges made.
Tiny barges made. I make poor financial decisions.
Philip, have dogmen ever fought Sasquatch? You've heard stories. I mean, I don't think that you hear that on the LBL. There's dogmen to the north, Sasquatch to the south. And when you talk to the people that are the real, veteran LBL, the old LBL hands, they don't think that's the case. Martin Nunley, Martin Groves, all of them will tell you that either through personal experience or very good firsthand witness accounts that is not what's going on there. That a lot of times they seem to be working in unison with each other. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't know. You'd think that too, if they're existing in the same area, if they were they're not natural animals. I don't know why we try to hypothesize that they're natural animals at any point in time. You could say that if they're two apex predators like that they would clash, but they're not natural animals. It's just, let's just get that out there.
Got some fireworks going on out there. So the injured dog thing is really kind of interesting to me. I don't know if
Kim Drescher says, okay, let's talk about this. The world is insane. It's flooded and it's on fire. These creatures are coming up and everything is peculiar. So there you go. Yeah. I'm going to agree.
I'll agree with you. It is weird that we're getting everything's just so cyclical. We got all of those dogman reports, and that's what led us into looking into dogman and going to the LBL the first time, and then just completely changing our preconceived notions on whether dogman was real or not.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden we had kind of pretty much put Bigfoot to bed.
I think, I think I even said this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I'm bored with Bigfoot, and now I'm excited about.
Well, it's because
Bigfoot
we're getting
again.
just crazy reports that are, not just I saw one cross on a road. It's really crazy stuff, and then we go there, and then it happens immediately after we get out of the car. But now we're getting Bigfoot reports, left and right. I haven't gotten a dogman thing in weeks at this point. So.
It's weird. The universe pushes us in directions.
Yeah, we don't fight it anymore. We basically just go whichever way the universe is taking us. We go with it, and we just go. We don't try to fight it. So
We'll start a website called Only Barges.
only barges. So all right, let's see here.
Pickled sausage and only barges. I'm retiring.
All right, let's see here. Barge tattoos for everybody. Terry Johnson talks about how they do exist in the same area. I have both. Terry, if you were anywhere near us, shoot us an email if you've got something like that going on. Here's a man who would know if anybody does. Firm believer, Bigfoot is the master. Dogman is a slave or a bird dog, basically. Meaning they use them to hunt. In Martin's story, Martin's account kind of backs that up. I mean,
Marcus Aurelius says, are Dogman sightings increasing for some unknown reason, or are people just more open to reporting them now? I think it's a little out of column A and a little out of column B on that.
I think that before people were seeing them and reporting them, but they were being taken as Bigfoot reports.
Like misidentified Sasquatch.
Well, or if you were making the report to somebody, you were going to be making the report more than likely to a Bigfoot organization. And they don't want to hear about upright dogs. They're just going to go, you saw a Sasquatch, because in their mind, that's all that exists. But there does seem to be an increase in them. And there is more awareness of them. So it's a chicken and the egg type thing. Somebody mentioned tulpas earlier. Is the conscious act of being aware of them and thinking about them increasing the frequency of the sightings.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Because we know, I mean, we don't know, but I think it's a fair guess that these are not natural animals, like I mentioned before. But maybe talking about them feeds into like building their energy, you know, feeds into them increasing in sightings.
So Paul M., I brought that down because it was hiding us. And we were talking about as a change of frequency. What about the DMT ayahuasca claims of alien encounters, interdimensional being encounters? Think there's any validity of such mind expanding substances and actual encounters? A few years ago, I would have said absolutely not. But the fact that a lot of the people that are really in the know are talking about how just consciousness, human consciousness is tied into this stuff, and that the universe consciousness is not as separate from the physical universe as we thought. Yeah, I think that maybe sometimes you're keying in to be able to recognize what might be around us all the time. Because when you take drugs like that, DMT and all that, your brain activity goes down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Goes way down.
It's like the filters are being taken off.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going to. So your brain might not be the generator of that stuff. It might be the filter that keeps it out. So I definitely I think that is more possible than I would have thought a few years ago.
Grace W., thank you for that. That is awesome. Hellbent Holler Copter Fund landed on the barge for a major entrance to your barge party.
The barge party. Watch. We'll just like go quiet for like 3 months, and then we'll just do a live, and we're on a barge, and like you're coming in on a helicopter. We've hit the lottery. We didn't tell anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? So
cocaine dog man.
Cocaine to him.
I was the cocaine dog man the whole time.
Ronnie Moore wants to know, have you two ever seen any of these creatures? I'm new to the show, just wondering. So I had a sighting of something when I was a kid. I don't know what it was. The closest approximation could be Bigfoot, and that's if I wasn't being hoaxed, which I think about every time I talk about it. I just have to sit here and go, I can't tell you I wasn't being hoaxed. I just don't know. We have seen what appeared to be an upright canine on a thermal imager at fairly close range. We saw what appears to be the shape of what you could say looks like a Bigfoot at the LBL, but it was extremely cold. It was colder than the concrete pad that we were near during wintertime.
You want to get super weird. It was the ghost of a Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's just, so we saw that again on thermal, not with the naked eye, because it wasn't there to the naked eye. We both saw something running at the LBL. I saw it once. Jesse's seen it on 2 different occasions now, and I have never been able to come up with a term for what we saw. It's not a Bigfoot. It's not a dog man. It seemed to be physical because it moved. At least the one that I saw moved the branches when it ran into
it. But it was like blacker than black.
Yeah, but there was you could still see definition of the faces. If I could draw, I could probably draw it, you know. I don't know what it was. I have no clue what it was. We have seen we've never had like a face-to-face up close thing with a Sasquatch. I mean, where we saw it just standing there. That's never happened. We've seen some sort of wolf-like creature in North Georgia. That two of them were just exceptionally large wolf-looking things that were on all fours, and then there was that one thing that we saw that was really sickly, and it looked like it was almost spider crawling. Yeah. And it looked like it could have stood up if it wanted to, and I don't know what that was.
And it was like so white. And we actually got it kind of on that video. The eye shine on it. Yeah.
So, but we've seen stuff, and we've been able to capture some of it on camera. We got the dog man on camera. We got that Bigfoot outline. I'm just gonna say it's a Bigfoot outline. I don't know what it was at the LBL. So yeah, we've gotten some of it. Some of it's happened too quick for us to.
Jonestead Farm says that's what I saw at the LBL, darker than a dark figure.
And we're not sure that what we saw. When we describe it to each other, it sounds similar. The limbs seemed too long, and it looked like it just had extra joints. The thing I saw looked unnatural, and it didn't look like it should move as quick and as smoothly as what it did. It looked like it would be painful.
Isn't it pretty wild though? That so you think of the LBL and you hear about Dogman primarily when it comes to the LBL, or you hear about Sasquatch, but now there's this other thing altogether that nobody really is talking about. This other thing altogether that we don't really have a name for, but we'll come up with one, I guess. But that I've seen twice, you've seen once, and then Jonestead Farm has seen. Could be the same, could not. I don't know.
Would CE5 work to attract a Bigfoot?
We just talked about this.
Yeah, I still think it's a great.
I'm gonna look into this because I don't know if we need to develop something to give some tries to. I'm gonna look into some stuff with this. I'm gonna poke around the possibility of like a CE5 for Sasquatch kind of thing. That'd be dope.
The Coast of Cocaine Dogman coming to the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We better get some residuals from that, man. So
I'm starring in it. What are you talking about?
You know, like one evening, I'm just gonna have Saban on. I don't care if anybody like tunes in or if they tune in and just get sick of us babbling and then just tune out. But we just really need to have like a hard science where we just let him go one night. If he doesn't want to appear with his face, we can like do it up so that maybe he's like backlit. We can do. Could you alter a voice? You wouldn't be able to do that on a live show, would you?
Live stream.
He's probably got a voice alter. He probably has a voice altering device within arm's length of him right now. Okay, just sitting there, not doing anything with it.
He's probably got a whole Wizard of Oz setup ready to go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he's probably going to be a comment right now going, "How do you want my voice to sound? High pitch, low pitch? Let me know. I've got options." So. E-Rev's on here talking about illegal drug use. So if there's any active duty law enforcement on the show right now, he's a cool guy. Give him a pass. Oh, Goshawk has any update on the guy at the wheel of that vehicle with the snake-like arm?
Oh my God.
Yes. So
I'm deaf.
You go.
I'm apparently deaf. So when I was listening to the account, I said that it had a dog dressed as a cheerleader. Joe listened to the account a couple of times and go, it was a doll dressed as a cheerleader. A doll, not a dog. Okay, so that's
makes it more realistic.
Less weird.
Well, still weird, but
less weird. We've backed off the weirdness a little bit, but yes, less weird. But it was a doll.
But we have not heard anything, and we have not been back in that area because we were doing the shapeshifter thing, and then all of a sudden it was like the universe just went. Bigfoot. I want you guys to look at Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Hear these Bigfoot reports go. So we went and we didn't really have a lot happen when we were up at that first place, but it was weird. We were almost out of there and like my hair was standing up. I felt like we were being watched. And then the second area we went to, that's the area that has me intrigued the most right now, but it's the area that we have to approach the most cautiously right now. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So all right. I think everybody's getting tired. We're probably going to wrap it up soon. Appalachian Tales of Terror just popped in. Hello.
Lady Wolf said, watching the live LBL had my heart pounding out of my chest. I still have that link to my link tree because that's probably one of my favorite live investigation things we've ever done is running around the LBL like live. That was so cool.
Well, Philip says whatever the beast of LBL is, it's a part of a greater intelligence, unfathomable to us. I rant about that all the time because people are even if it's not alien, i.e., from another planet, it's alien in that it doesn't behave in the way that we want to humanize it to make it behave.
Yeah.
So there's obviously that there's something going on that's a little beyond us, because the more you look into it, the more mysterious it gets and the more baffled you get. So I would agree with Philip on that. So, let's see.
Do you want to do a last call for alcohol?
Let's do a last call for anything.
All right,
here,
last call for,
guys.
you know, I don't bartend anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
Last call for everybody. If you got anything you want to throw in there, anything you want to say, anything you want to ask, go ahead.
I'll answer once. What other creatures would y'all like to investigate? The laughing thing has got me
intrigued and frightened
and a little wary at the same time. But that is what I am. It's what I'm kind of going on for right now. So
a friend and I are discussing doing some just straight up ghost stuff eventually, and maybe including that in the channel. Joe's not really into straight up ghost hunting type stuff. That's kind of how I started out. So I still enjoy that. I really love doing that. So I'm thinking about maybe including some more of that, maybe pursuing a little more of that and including it in the channel, but as kind of a side kind of thing.
Bigfoot Adventures. Lisa, do you think that Bigfoot and Dogman hang together? I do think sometimes they do that. You've got Martin Grove's account. I think with Barton Nunley, I think he had a couple of different things going on out there when his childhood encounter. I think that sometimes they do. I think sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right.
Tomorrow's the 4th of July.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Happy 4th. It's our Independence Day. I hope everybody has a great 4th. No, I'm going to take that money and I'm just going to gamble it. I'm going to just go gambling. I'm not going to go.
Julie Bog wants to know, do you guys have t-shirts? Love to represent my favorite channel. Thank you. We might do a run of t-shirts up. The big thing with us was always been time. We have been limited in our time on what we can do. But we might do a run of, would you be able to do a run of t-shirts and get them mailed out and everything?
So if I do a run of t-shirts, I'll do a run of t-shirts and I'll announce it and everything. It's going to be with the classic logos. They're going to be screen printed on high quality. The really nice, like light tri-blend t-shirts is what they're going to be on. It's the OG logo here, this good, amazing, beautiful thing that Jonathan Dodd drew. That would be it on a black t-shirt. And I don't know, I might do a pre-order or I might do an order and then I'll put up a Shopify and then you guys
got the time now.
Purchase those. Yeah. And then I'll get those out and everything. So I might do a pre-order or I might just go ahead and do like an order with Jacob and get it going. And then we'll do t-shirts. I think we've spoke to Dee about possibly doing hats and patches going forward. So I'm going to look into all that and we're going to start merchandising all this. We do have pint glasses and stuff like that too. So,
because it's a cool logo and it's weird because for years I was just like, I don't want to be like a merchant, man. You know what I'm saying? Buy my Hellbent Holler koozie, please. But it's a pretty cool logo and people want to rock. I mean, I wear like a Hellbent Holler hat like every day of my life almost. You know
Hellbent Holler golf tees.
Yeah, baby bibs,
tea towels,
toasters. So anyway, all right, I think that's it. I think we're wrapping.
All right, guys.
We're caught up on the chat.
Stingray has a cool Hellbent Holler t-shirt. Yes, he does. So I'll see what I'm doing with that. I'm gonna start rolling that stuff around.
Some thought. If we're alive after our next outing, might actually do some shirts, man.
Yeah.
It's Hey We Survived. It's the Hey We Survived version. I got chased by the laughing beast, and all I got was this crappy shirt. So
Jesus. Anyway. All right. My favorite shirt is my Pig Boy shirt.
Pig Boy shirt. Yes, we got a Pig Boy shirt.
Oh gosh. All right, guys. We are going to wrap it up here. We appreciate you guys being a part of this and joining us for these conversations every Monday. We love you guys. Make sure that you are subscribed because I am going to be putting out videos because that's what I do now. I'm going to be putting out videos. I'm going to be catching up on all of my editing that I'm doing. So keep an eye out and you guys can, view those. Make sure you like everything, comment on everything, share it with your friends. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. That's our next big goal that we're going to right now. and we'll keep you guys posted on everything. If you've got anything cool you want to send us, our email is right down there, and our PO box is right down there. Check that one. So we get cool letters from people, and we get breaking and entering tools from other people.
Yeah, we get breaching tools, which are always welcome.
So make sure you guys are safe tomorrow. Have a happy and safe 4th.
Everybody do a finger count right now, and when we get back together next Monday, hopefully everybody has got the same amount of fingers. There's somebody out there somewhere right now that doesn't realize that this is the last day of their life that they're going to have 10 fingers. You know what I'm saying? That going forward,
don't let that guy be you. So
don't be lefty.
Yeah, make sure you guys take care of yourselves tomorrow, and have a wonderful 4th of July. Eat all the hot dogs in the world. Not as many hot dogs as I ate the other day, but eat all the hot dogs and have fun. And
can we have just a moment of just levity and what's the word I'm looking for right now? Slice of life type stuff. So we did a scouting mission at another place, and we were coming back in. We didn't stay the night out there. So we came back in, and we were both hungry. So we go through Cookout, and Jesse orders, like, for the Cookout is a place, I guess Cookout's what? Mostly Southern, isn't it? It's like a burger place.
Hot dogs and hamburgers.
Hot dogs and
hamburgers.
That
you would get at a Cookout,
It's open late. And so she orders like this 2 hot dog tray to go, and then they ask her what sides she wants. So she's got 2 chili dogs with onions as the entree, and then for her side, corn dogs. She gets like freaking corn dogs.
I get 1 corn dog. I got 1 corn dog and onion rings.
But she's ordering and then trying to hit me because she knows I'm immediately going to be making fun of her because I'm going, you got a corn dog as a side with hot dog meals?
It was a 3-dog night.
It was a 3-dog night. Good Lord. All right. And on that note, let's end. Let's just end right
guys.
there. So
we love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Again,
Thank
our
you, guys.
address is down there. Our email address is down there. If you got any cool tips or anything you want to send us, go check that out.
Everybody who donated tonight, thank you. That's going to go in.
Yeah, thank you. That's a big thing.
That's going to be keeping the expeditions going.
Yep,
So we will share those with you guys. And
I'll be updating the website over the next couple of weeks and everything too. So
damn, we're kicking this into high gear, man.
I'm kicking it into high gear.
It before now, but now we're like,
I'm not popping beer bottles and talking shit anymore. So I'm running Hellbent Holler. All right, guys. We love you guys.
Hey, thank you guys.
We hope that you guys have a great 4th. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a badass week. And keep up the good work, everybody.
Y'all are doing a great job.
You're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. Keep it up.